conversations have you had with Game and Fish Commission? Because they have presented their budget and I think proposed $350,000 for ADEQ. And so tell me what conversations you've had with them and how it interrelates with your budget here.
We've spoken with them about those new positions. And when we're talking about how to cooperate with them and how to work with them so that we could get some of that funding to go ahead and beef up some of our programs in the Fayetteville Shell area, we have kind of purposes that are aligned. Our goal, of course, in the Fayetteville Shell area is to make sure there's no environmental harm, and part of that is no harm to the habitat. So we spoke with them about what we could do to assist them in their mission of preserving the habitat and the environment in that area. So we had discussed entering into an agreement with them for that funding. There's been no final document or anything like that that I've seen, but we have discussed those 4 positions, and that funding amount came from our department.
Okay. Would those 4 positions be in addition to the 4 positions you've requested, or the same?
They're the same positions. Now, we have had some preliminary discussions on perhaps a couple of more positions, but we have not finalized anything like that with Game and Fish, and we're still talking about that.
Let me ask you a general revenue question, and I don't mean general revenue in the sense of state general revenue, but a general question. Are your fees, permits, license fees, are they increasing from just activity around the state, or how is your special revenue stream?
Our fees themselves in the water division, our main fees, of course, come from water and air, and then there are solid waste fees. None of the fees themselves are actually increasing. We have some additional fees, except for the air fees.
Now, I'm not talking about the fee itself increasing, but just from volume of activity.
Volume of activity. Yes, sir. We have had some increases there due to the new general permit fees that we have related to the oil and gas activities. Those have come in. There's additional revenue coming in there. The rest of the fee funds, that's correct, have not increased dramatically. I think they've stayed pretty flat. They're pretty level. The rest of the fee funds have stayed pretty level, I think.
In your hazardous waste permit appropriation, you have some other funding from 2 Arkansas companies that use an extraordinary amount of your time.
Yes, sir.
And they reimburse or compensate the agency. Who are those companies?
Those are Clean Harbors and Rhineco, and we also have the Pine Arsenal. Clean Harbors, Rhineco, and the Pine Arsenal. We do have someone there that works 40 hours a week on site in those facilities.
You've requested a position for legal policy advisor. What all will this person do?
Actually, this person, we got the position instituted temporarily this summer, and it's been a big help to the department. The legal policy advisor position is someone, we have a lot of new guidelines coming down from the EPA. There's a lot of new federal guidelines coming in. There's a lot of things happening in other states, greenhouse gas emissions laws, things like that. The policy advisor keeps on top of the regs that are coming down, the guidelines that are coming down from EPA. She intends to incorporate those as soon as possible, let our divisions know when those guidelines are coming down, so if we need to comment on those, we can. She drafts legislation for the legislative session when it's coming up. She also does special projects. If we're trying, right now we're doing some research on oil and gas issues, trying to figure out how other states are handling certain areas, how we might be able to improve on that, and she does those special projects also.
All right, let's talk oil and gas a minute. And we worked and communicated when you had some of your new rules. Are all the rules with respect to your reserve pits finalized and implemented, and how are they working?
The permit provisions are in place. We had an administrative appeal which caused them to be stayed until August 1st, and we worked out that some folks in the Arkoma Basin appealed the pit permit, but we were able to work that out with them, so those permits are in place. However, we do have a challenge directly in circuit court from the oil producers in South Arkansas, and that challenge is ongoing, but the permits are now affected. They did not stay the enforcement of the permits.
I want you to know that I appreciate your efforts and support your efforts with respect to protecting, preserving our water quality and all that. I do have some concerns in some of our oil and gas activities that we have folks out there not knowing which master to serve.
Yes, sir.
And I think this may be an issue of semantics, but on page 58, there's a statement made that in order for you to oversee oil and gas exploration activities, and it goes on. Now, to me, the Oil and Gas Commission oversees oil and gas activities. You make certain that if there's any environmental damage, or particularly if anything gets off that well site, and I know you've got the activities with respect to the reserve pits. But I guess that wording doesn't strike me quite right.
And that's really, and you must be inside really some of the production activities, because exploration is really more where we're involved in. Some of the activities that we're involved in that Oil and Gas Commission does not cover, like the building of the roads, because we've had some of the problems we've seen with the natural gas activity is sediment pollution from the building of the roads to the well sites, the drilling pads. So we, in these general permits, have put in obligations for best management practices to prevent the sediment getting into the streams, which of course is the #1 pollutant in Arkansas. We also deal with issues involved laying the gas pipelines. When pipelines are coming across, they have to have a short-term activity authorization before they can cross those streams, and that's been a tremendous increase of those that we've seen come through with oil and gas activity. And we also deal with certain disposal measures. We have commercial land farms, which have been real controversial lately for the land application of freshwater-based drilling fluids, and we do permit those. And of course, the reserve pits, our concern there is that we do not get involved, you're exactly right, with the drilling activities themselves. Our concern is that nothing that's in those pits or nothing that's contained on that drilling pad get to the waters of the state. So that's what we do.
Well, how would you describe your working relationship right now with oil and gas and the flow of communication both ways? If your folks see something and notifying them, or if they see something and notifying you?
I think the communication is going on very well. Mr. Bingle and I have talked about there's certain information he wanted, such as if we go out and we see that there's a minor spill on a pad, can that be cleaned up, and what are the guidelines on that? And so we worked out a deal that we sent to them that talked about if you had less than 2 barrels, how that might be cleaned up on site, and then reported to us later. It's not necessary that we might have to go out immediately, but his people can probably oversee that and then just let us know when that was done, and we do a follow-up inspection if necessary. We're trying to coordinate with them with those types of activities. He's also let us know when they've seen some problems that he felt like we needed to go out and look at, and we've gone out and inspected those when that's happened.
One final question. Out of a budget of $108 million, can you find $1.5 million somewhere where we don't have to increase general revenue?
Well, that's just the appropriation. Unfortunately, that's not money, so that's part of the problem.
Well, I do think the proposal does increase general revenue funding by $1.5 million.
It does. And part of in fact, really the main reason for that is because we've had to borrow from other funding. We've basically had to tap into our fee funds, and a lot of that has to do, our fee funds are being tapped heavily because they increase in just our operating costs. When you're talking about gas increases the way it is and just everything going up the way it is, that's been a problem. We had to borrow $600,000 from our fee fund, $300,000 from our Haz Waste permitting fund, and $200,000 from our petroleum storage tank trust fund. And that we were allowed to do that when our general revenue was taken away before, because the legislature realized that we would probably need additional funding to operate. But we really don't want to have to tap those funds to operate. We would really like to have a general revenue for our operating expenses.
Thank you, Ms. Marks.
Ms. Pickett.